Hello, I've got another piece of Blackbird Farm beef with me to cook today. And today it is this gorgeous chuck roast, which I am going to, here we go, can you see that? Can you see all that beautiful marbling in that chuck roast? I am going to make a pot roast, but not just any pot roast. I'm going to make beef bourguignon. Forgive me, my French pronunciation is always terrible. But I'm going to cut this up, sear it, braise it, and show you how to make a delicious chuck beef bourguignon. Okay, I've cut that beautiful chuck into a bunch of larger than bite-sized pieces. We're going to want to, stew this. So it's kind of like stew meat. And I'm going to sear those off in the Dutch oven with some olive oil once I put some salt and pepper on those. But yeah, let's talk about the rest of the ingredients here. As I mentioned, salt and pepper, which I'm going to add to the chuck before I sear it off. Olive oil. Back here, we've got onions, carrots, some crushed garlic, thyme and bay leaves, and that's a little chopped parsley to finish it off at the end. Of course, the red burgundy for your beef bourguignon. If this was the Italian beef braised in Barolo, you'd use Barolo. You could, really use any red wine, but traditionally it's red burgundy. And it doesn't have to be a high-end red burgundy, but the wine you cook with should always be something you like to drink. Here is a little demi-glacé. Beef, you remember the beef stock that I made with the bones? Well, that's a reduced down just a little bit for some added at the end there. Smack your lips. And so that's all the ingredients. We're going to get this going by salting and peppering the chuck and searing it off in the pot. There's the chuck in the pot, salt and pepper, olive oil. We're going to sear this off in 2 batches because we don't want to overcrowd the meat. We want to give it a lot of room to get nice and brown on the outside. You'll notice I did cut away some of the fat with the chuck when I trimmed it and chopped it into pieces, but I didn't cut away all the fat because fat is flavor and you want to keep that delicious Blackbird Farm beef fat. As you can see, I've browned it up nice here. Got the second batch in there cooking now, and then you set it aside on a plate while we cook up the veg. The meat is browned and set aside, and now I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit and put these onions in. Cook these onions in that beautiful beef fat and olive oil for about 10 minutes. Get them nice and coated, and we'll let them cook for a few minutes. If your onions seem a little dry in there, you can always add some more beef fat. I've got some saved here from before in the fridge, or more olive oil if you need to. If I had to, I would choose butter if I didn't have any fat. After about 8 to 10 minutes, you'll notice the onions are getting a nice golden brown color. Cooking beautifully here. Now I'm going to sprinkle on that flour. And this, coupled with the beef fat, olive oil, butter if you had to use it, fat in here is going to create a little bit of a roux, which will thicken the final dish. After about 4 to 5 minutes of cooking the flour, you'll see it's all integrated in there beautifully. But you'll notice there's a lot of that good brown stuff at the bottom of the pan, and that's now the time for the red wine. I'm going to put that in there, get it back up to a little bit of a boil. So we're going to raise the heat a little bit, and we're going to use that red wine to scrape the pan. Let's get a little hotter so it comes up a little too more of a boil. And yeah, so we're going to scrape the bottom of the pan. And if you could see it, if I can get in there, see how as I move it along, I'm going to get all that good stuff off the bottom of the pan. Fond, all that good fond off the bottom of the pan. I have scraped up all the good stuff, all the fond. You can see the wine is reduced and thickened a little bit. Now we're going to add the beef back in. Add the carrots. The crushed garlic. I just crushed it. I didn't really do much more to it. I like bigger pieces of garlic in there. That demi-glacé that I mentioned before. And then I left out an ingredient earlier when I was talking. You need water. You need to be able to actually get all this underwater. Let me stir this up a bit before I do that. So we're going to take water and we're going to just fill it to cover this by about an inch or so. So let's get all that in there good. Add the water. Not going to use too much. This isn't a dish about water. It's a dish about all these great flavors. So that's less than 2 cups. It's about covered. Might add a little more water. Yeah, a little more water. So we're looking at about 3 cups of water here. And now we're going to get that up to a boil and then drop to a simmer. Almost forgot thyme and 2 bay leaves. Gotta have some herbs in there. The dish came up to a boil. I've reduced it to a simmer, and now we're going to let this simmer for about 2 hours to reduce down. You're going to want a nice saucy consistency. This is not a simmer that you should just set and leave. You should check it every 10-15 minutes, make sure the things aren't sticking to the bottom of the pot, that sort of thing. But you'll see over the course of 2 hours, become a nice, thick, delicious beef bourguignon. Here's the finished dish. We're going to cut the heat. Turn off the exhaust here. Give it a final stir. Remember to take out those 2 bay leaves that we put in there. And then add the chopped parsley to finish. Taste it for any more salt and pepper adjustments, but otherwise, there you go. Beef bourguignon. A fantastic pot roast with chuck from Blackbird Farm. Thanks for watching. I'm going to let you in on a little meat secret. Beef bourguignon or pot roast or pretty much any type of braised meat like that are when they're all in these rich juices like this, which has some good unctuous fat in there, are really, really good the next day. So if you can, put it in a large vessel like this, let it cool a bit and stick it in the fridge and warm it up to eat the next day. Just put it back in the pot and warm it back up.